Hi, Howard.
Hi, Becky.
Hello,
Hi, George.
how are you?
Hi, George.
Hey, Becky.
I'm just moving stuff in case Leslie needs to come down. Or I can always go there. Maybe I'll go there because she has all her papers.
She's having difficulty connecting?
We can't hear you, Leslie.
Now you can.
Yeah,
Yes,
you're muted.
I just had to unmute.
good.
On the phone, I'm going to lay it down. Look at the ceiling. Oh, you can't see my face then.
We
No,
can still hear you.
that's all right. You may get my neck or something like that. I think I got both the computer and the phone. The computer does not have a camera. So how can, well, I'm just going to turn the computer off.
So we can see your face from the phone?
Yep. I'm leaving the meeting on the computer. You got everything. The computer does not have a microphone. And so I always try to figure out how to get this phone to, just need something a little bit smaller. Otherwise you end up seeing my beautiful something else.
Well, you know, Leslie, once the meeting starts, I'm gonna be looking at all your documents.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Did I give you enough?
Oh, geez. Well, you know, I gotta say, I really appreciate how you prepare us for these meetings.
Oh, thank you. It takes I'm lucky I have the time to do it. Let me just put it that way. Because that's the only way I like to do it.
It's
Hi.
very helpful.
You can see let's see. If I do this and move my screen, balancing act. Are we still waiting for April or?
Is she
Um,
on vacation?
no,
Anybody?
she's back. She was supposed to come back on the day of town meeting.
Okay, so, she did come back.
You know what? Yep, she's on the email. So she's been warned. She's been
Oh,
told.
and now she's gonna get one of my. She's on the phone, so I'll call her cell.
First, send her a text.
Well, I think I've got a system. If something goes crashing down, it's just the phone. It's not me.
Just don't let it break.
I don't think iPhones ever break, do they?
I tell you what, mine's been tested many times and it hasn't broken yet.
Me too. Yeah. Yep. They're good, good things.
Yeah, no, they've engineered them to take a beating.
Okay, so we have Howard, George, we're about to have April.
Is that true?
April has no electricity, so she's gonna come up and sit with me. So
Oh,
she can
bummer.
hear the meeting. She has no electricity.
Yeah,
She also didn't remember the meeting.
I had no landline telephone after the storm, but how often do I use it anyway?
I don't know.
there's a
Not
landline
very.
wire, there's an old Verizon wire in front of my house that came down during the big snowstorm in March. It's still down. So obviously nobody on my road cares. Unless it's coming down from the other direction.
Yeah.
It's okay if I cut that, Becky, and just get rid of the wire?
Sure,
Don't ask
George.
me.
Yeah, I know. I don't know who to ask. I might just do
Oh.
that. I might just cut it.
No, just call Verizon and let them know. Or next time I see them, I'll tell them to
Well,
go
how
to,
often do you see them? Do you have a number for them, or should I just look them up, customer service?
yeah, customer, the numbers they don't have,
Okay.
yeah.
I'll call them.
Oh,
At this point, I don't think anybody cares about that wire, so
right. I agree.
I rolled it up and I put it at the foot of the telephone pole.
You
Yeah.
mean it really was broken and down?
Yeah, it was down, and I saw it when I was out there clearing the driveway, and Becky, I sent you an email about it. Somebody showed up. They marked the area where it was. They clearly had touched
I
it.
remember that.
Yeah, and so then it just sat there for days, and finally I just took it and rolled it up.
We're glad
It's
you're
long.
still
It's
here.
the whole length of my property. It's 250 feet long. My frontage,
God.
right?
Wow.
My frontage is 250 feet. That's the frontage in our town, right?
Yeah. Well, that's what it's the new required, but not all the houses are. A lot
My
of
house was
them
built
are.
in, 89. So I think that was after. Whatever, it doesn't matter. It's long, I can tell you that.
Yep. Sorry, I just got a tick.
You just got a what?
Tick. I just killed it.
Worst year I've ever had with ticks. I can't believe how many I've encountered so far this year.
I'm in agreement on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I walked in the woods this morning. That's probably why.
Yeah, that'll do it. Even in my yard though.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But usually not in town hall.
Well, that's good. Although they can migrate into town hall on boots and, pant legs and things like that.
Yeah, Grace had one yesterday.
Yeah, bummer.
Ooh. All right. So April should be here shortly. And then
That was quite a storm. I decided I'd unplug my TV and I have to reach up and over and down. And then I thought, well, I'll do the telephone too. And I'm hearing, hello, Leslie. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, I've unplugged the telephone. How can that be? Then I realized it was my cell phone, and poor David Burgess, I had called him.
that's so funny.
I don't know how that happens, but it seems to happen.
It definitely
yeah.
happens.
Yeah, well, I went out and checked my rain gauge. We got a half an inch of rain in an hour and a half.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty heavy when it started.
Yeah.
Very heavy.
It was still raining when I was driving up here, not at my house. And then when I got up on the main road, it was pouring. Had to use the wipers. Ah.
So this tick won't die. It tried to crawl away again.
They're hard to kill.
I like to burn them, but I don't have a,
Yeah, don't burn down town hall.
yeah.
Flush it down the toilet.
That's what they say. That gives me the creeps. Then I can't, then I just envision them
How about going
climbing
to
back
kitchen?
out.
Do you have a kitchen and you, or a sink? Flush them down a sink, wash them down a sink.
Yeah. Not till I have them in pieces.
Yeah, all right. Torture it, please.
We were finding, we have a metal kitchen door that the sun shines on and it gets very warm. And I think they like warmth. And we were pulling 4 to 8 to 10 ticks off the door a day. So I had a little flat stone and a little squasher stone. And one day a little ant, I was squishing a number of ticks, do 4 and 5 at a time. Not an ant, a spider came running over and was within about 2 inches watching me. And I thought, you, good for you, you eat them. It was it's the first time
If that's happening, you should spray the door.
Well, there you go.
No, there's sprays that will keep ticks from crawling. I spray my chairs out in the yard, my Adirondack chairs. I sprayed my Adirondack chairs
Oh,
because I
that's
was sitting
smart.
reading the paper and next thing I knew, one was crawling up my arm.
So
I'm gonna email you the name of what we use. It's really
right.
good and it lasts a
Yeah.
long time.
yeah.
We sprayed
I
on our
know some-
boots, we sprayed on our pants.
Can you
Some
send that to
people-
me too?
Yeah, when I hike, when Marty and I hike, we spray it on our stuff. Yeah, I will.
Yeah. The only way I know to hike is to go right home, put all the clothes in the washer, take a shower and
Right.
wash and dry everything. It's just awful. And Becky, I agree with you. It is a little creepy because you never, it's a long jump, but
It gets to the point too, though. What's creepy to me is a different thing is every time I have an itch or something, it's like, oh, it's a tick. And
yep.
Yeah.
You,
after a while, you're just like nervous about them. You're just antsy about them.
yep. You got it. I got one attached to my ankle. I would say the beginning of May. It got really embedded, and for the whole month of May, my ankle was swollen. It was red, a big red area around it, and here it is,
Leslie.
June, and there's still a small patch. Yeah, I
Did you
know.
go to the doctor?
No, I used to, but
You have to, Leslie.
yeah,
You
everyone.
have to. No,
Yeah.
if it's been embedded for more than 48 hours or 24 hours, you need to talk to
24.
the doc.
I don't think it was. And
All right.
I used to go all the time. I'd get the antibiotic, I take it, and 15 minutes later, it comes back up. And I figure by now I must be totally diseased.
Well, the
But-
thing is, it's not just Lyme disease.
I
Even the
know.
dog ticks, they all carry all kinds of stuff.
They really do. They're awful, awful.
And my
awful,
wife,
awful.
the nurse, if you ask her what they carry, she'll start running down the list and what they can do to you in the long run. And it's like, oh my God, I'm calling the doctor.
Yeah, yeah. And I used to be more conscientious about it. So let's see.
Well, I'm hoping April's gonna walk in the door any second.
Oh, she won't because it's locked. Does she have a key?
She should ring the bell. I'll go unlock it. Oh, did you locked it again? Okay, I'll go out fish stinking, Leslie.
Becky locked it, Mary Ann unlocked it, Leslie locked it, Becky's gonna unlock it.
Well, if it's not business hours, you should probably keep it locked, right? Is that what you
Yeah.
typically do? Yeah.
Because she and I both love to work late when it's quiet here, and it's always a good idea to keep it locked.
Yes, it is.
Yep. I remember many, many, many years ago when life was different. Someone came in the back door, came up the back steps, stairwell, unscrewed the sign that said police department off the wall and left.
So it's sitting in somebody's room in their house somewhere, you know how
Yeah.
kids like to put the signs on the wall.
somebody's dorm room 20 years ago is now, or 25 even, is now, that person must be 45, 50 by now.
Yeah, right, not a kid anymore. Leslie, when you were town clerk, didn't your office get broken into?
That's right. Right back at the beginning. Yes, I forgot about that. And the assessor's office.
Oh, I didn't
And-
know that.
Yeah, they especially have
No.
a big metal bar on plate on their door where it was repaired. But
There's-
you're right, they came in through
Been
the
here
town
for-
clerk's window.
Yeah, that's what I remember.
Yep.
I was chased by
Yep.
coyotes.
Leslie was so young that I would bring her in to help me in the evenings and put her on the TV. I had a little tiny TV in there, and that way
Mutilated. the
never
chick.
missed it. All right, so I'm gonna
man.
put 6:45 for starting.
I'm
Okay.
so. Let me see, what are my excuses? We don't have electricity because we're having work done on trees.
I already told him you forgot.
And I forgot.
Oh,
And you forgot.
It's not my
double
fault.
whammy.
I was chased
Well,
by.
you couldn't
coyotes.
read the
Oh, she-
emails because you didn't have electricity.
I didn't have electricity. I
So
don't.
you can read the email to be reminded.
Exactly. It wasn't my
Yeah.
fault.
You're off the hook.
Not your fault.
It was my fault. And I was chased by coyotes on Sunday. So
Oh,
Seriously?
Sunday, and that's why you forgot.
How many?
I totally
Big-
forgot a meeting last week. I went
Behind
straight,
your house, April?
Hmm?
Behind your house?
way behind my house. Yes.
Were they chasing
that-
Hank?
It was interesting. Here, let me. throw
was it
this.
dangerous?
I think it might, I don't know. It was, I heard a, anyway, I heard a puppy. I thought it was a puppy barking. It wasn't, apparently. And then Hank and I continued, he was off leash. And then I hear all these coyotes off near John Puffer's behind his house.
Yes.
And I went towards it with sticks because I was gonna beat them. I thought,
Well,
I
at
didn't
least-
know what was going on. I did catch Hank, but as we left, the noise followed us. They were making sure
After
we,
you.
yes, they
Oh
wanted
my
us.
God.
I'm sure there were puppies. But I'm
They were
here.
curious.
I don't think they were curious. I think they wanted us out of there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But anyway,
Wow.
here I am. Hi.
Okay. So we're opening the meeting at 6:47, I think. And in attendance remotely are board members George Arvanitis, April Stein, Chairman Howard Spetner, ex officio member Becky Torres, and clerk Leslie Bracebridge. The first item on the agenda is to review and approve the minutes from May 17th. Does anybody have any questions or comments about those minutes? Okay, I move that we approve them.
I'll second.
Our third.
Okay. The second item is the May 2023 accountant reports. There is only one and there is nothing on it. I move that we accept that report.
Yeah, well, my only question, I'll second.
Okay. The third item is the,
Wait, could I interrupt?
wait,
Yes,
please.
thank you.
Yeah.
Report.
Collector McKay always likes to have her books all done by the end of June. I didn't think of it in time for the agenda, but she asked me to create the June report. And what happens is I do the report as of the date that, in this case, as of today. And then if any other motor vehicle abatements come in, I just wait until July 1 to process them. So we actually, you could put it here or you could put it under the topic not reasonably anticipated 48 hours in advance, wherever you prefer. But I sent a second email with one motor vehicle abatement. It was for actually it was a Belchertown rebill. We got a commitment that had a bill for someone in Belchertown, and that was for $5 on a trailer. So it's really I don't know if pro forma is the right word, but whatever. It's just a clerical standard thing. And if you didn't get it,
We
I
got
can.
it.
Okay. So if you wouldn't mind approving that one for your signature stamps also, I'll give it to her and distribute it.
Okay,
Well-
I move that I'm sorry, any comments or?
Yeah, well, I just want to say the last one, I mean, I'm okay with doing this one now too, but the last one, agenda item number 2, we had a motion and it was seconded, but I didn't hear a vote.
Still open.
And we didn't have a discussion either, because I do have a question about it.
Okay, fine, I'm sorry. What's the
No, that's
question?
okay. We need to make sure we vote, but I noticed that it's 0 and there's nothing on it. So we have to complete one of these for each month, even if there's none.
Well, in this case, not for exemptions and things that are only a certain time of year, but Ellen and Gail and Ryan, maybe not so much Ryan. If I don't send it, I'm asked, well, we never got a report from you. So I'm not even sure. I'm guessing this is probably something that an auditor asked for at one time. I don't
Okay.
know, but that's why I do it, even though it's 0, just then everybody knows that I'm on top of it and they can close out their books. May is 0.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you. That's the answer.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. And, okay, so I'm going to move that we accept both of these accountant reports, the May and the June accountant reports.
And I'll second that.
Okay,
Arpanetta's aye.
okay, so that passes unanimously.
Yes.
Wait a minute. Well,
Okay.
technically, everybody should say Stein, I, Spetner, I too.
Yeah.
All right, I'm Spetner, aye. Okay. That everybody? We good?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. The third item on the agenda is the third motor vehicle commitment for 2023. Does anybody have any questions or comments about that?
So I'm lost here. All right, there we go. Motor
Okay,
vehicle- Oh, trailer access. I see. Yeah, the wrong. So for 9,988.85.
right.
That would be
Um,
things like rebills from other town. No, I'm sorry, it's not. That's from the Registry of Motor Vehicles, things that have happened, vehicles that have been purchased since January.
And that's actually only the third one we've gotten this year, third one we've done this year.
Yes, I think
Okay,
it's the decade, the 20s, 30s and 40s. We had one of those that I tried to explain, and I
yeah,
checked
right.
it out the next day and she said, absolutely, I was right, that it's typically wrong addresses for the 01002 zip code and things like that. And she does them separately, just so we know it's not a new sale, but it's actually just a corrective kind of thing.
Yeah, we take the money away from Amherst.
Yay.
Okay,
Okay, so you're gonna approve
So-
voting that I can.
so I
sign
move that we
on that?
approve the third commitment, motor vehicle commitment.
And I'll second it. And George could third it.
No, well, I'll just
Okay.
vote when we're ready.
Oh,
Arpanetta's-
okay, let's take a vote. Let's take a
Arpanetta's
vote.
aye.
I
Steiner.
approve. Okay. The fourth item is the forest classification lien release. And as I understand it, this is because basically the town of Shutesbury and Coles traded properties. And the property that's in back, it looked to me from the map like it's in back of the new library site. I got that right?
Wrong side of the
Am I-
road. It's actually
it's behind
on
the highway
the
department.
highway.
It's
Behind
Okay.
the Highway Department.
Oh, okay,
And they-
so it's not quite, okay. But it's coming, because it's returning to us, it is coming out of chapter 61.
Correct.
I got that right. And basically we have to approve that in some way. The lien release is what that's about.
Yes, it takes
Right.
8.8 acres out of forestry.
Okay.
Hmm.
And just out of curiosity, the land that we're giving back, the land that we're exchanging to CALS for that land,
Yes,
are they putting it into chapter 61?
No, it's 3 parcels at the lake. They're
Okay,
very small parcels that were surrounding Evan Cole's properties.
okay.
We traded those 3, and in total, I don't believe they're an acre. I think they were, I can't
They were
remember
like-
the actions, but maybe in total, they're less than 1/3 of an acre each, and they're about that size. And
Okay.
the property that we swap for isn't really behind the highway department. It's to the right of the highway department. And then it opens up behind Watkins and is larger. So it's 10 acres of property.
And why did all of this happen?
Because we were looking for a source of clean water for the
Okay,
Watkins property, so the town was responsible to provide clean water, well water to the Watkins. We originated the swap. It took 10 years to complete. Yeah,
okay.
it was a home rule petition originally, and Steve Kulik told me it would take no more than a year, 18 months.
For a decade.
Well, it's not a standard transaction, right? I mean, I'm sure there was a lot of research had to be done.
Well, the research was all done ahead of it going to the state legislature, but it went through 7 rounds, 8 rounds, I think, with the House and then the Senate. They
Wow.
just kept changing the language. They kept changing and changing the language, but it's still, it ended up getting done, but we have not at this point used it to drill a well. It was going to be so difficult to drill the well and run the water, even having that property. We ended up drilling at the behind the fire department. And then only to have it become, a year after we got the new well fully done, drilled, run from behind the fire station, like a half a mile to the Watkins, and a quarter mile probably.
Yeah.
It was a huge project. And then the next year, the Watkins called up and said, well, we just tested positive for PFAS. So, yeah.
Yeah.
It's been an adventure, and I'm glad we had the property because there might come a time we're going to have to drill there.
Okay,
I have 2
I'll
questions.
just add that the 3 properties at the lake came in at 1/3 of an acre, and that Coles has maintained a right of way through the property that they traded to us.
Because we traded for the first 10, but the Mary Clark parcel is a 60-acre parcel. So they needed access to the 50
So they can
acres.
still log.
Yeah.
So I have 2 questions. The land that they gave up, that was in 60A? Is that what it is, 61A?
No, that's just little lots at the lake that the town.
No, the one
No,
that we
the
took
land-
over.
Coles gave up.
Yeah, the land Coles gave us, was that in 61A?
No, that's agriculture. Just plain 61 is forestry.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was in forestry.
Now, isn't there usually a rollback? And when they give up the property, they have to pay some back taxes? That's not how that works?
David, yes, you're absolutely right. But David, let me get this straight. That could have happened, but then we would have had to also abate their taxes for those. It came out in David.
It broke even, so we didn't do
It was
it.
a wash. It was a
Okay, all right,
wash.
that's good. And my second question is pertaining to the properties at the lake. What are they gonna do with those?
I can tell you that. First of all, let me say, yeah, they would have had to pay the rollback, and we would have had to abate the taxes for the end of that period of time when they should have, when they paid for the lots, but Shutesbury owned them. So David said, this is just a wash. He's talked to Evan Jones about it. And by the way, that very same day, WD Coles Inc., for consideration of $10,120, sold those same 3 acres to Jonathan the Ninth LLC, a Massachusetts limited liability company. And if you happen to go to the Secretary of the Commonwealth's website, you would see that Jonathan the Ninth LLC happens to have as its president Evan Jones, who is slowly over the years acquiring and otherwise getting different lots down near where he lives at the lake.
Do you
And good
think-
for him. He's enhancing everything.
Is he gonna try and develop those lands, put houses on them?
I doubt if anything individual.
can't do
He's
that.
just, yeah, but he can combine, as things come along, he can combine them and make nicer pieces.
Basically,
might-
he spread out, he had a building on the edge of it and he spread out and put in a
Okay.
storage unit. He,
Okay, that's good. I asked too many questions. Thank you. Now I get it.
It was a win-win for everybody, I think.
It's
So
typical.
I
So-
think that all started by you folks voting unanimously, I hope,
Yes.
by saying your names that you approve this lien release. And then seems like there's something else the chairman should sign. So that requires a notarized signature, which Howard and I will work out. It could be anybody, but I thought in this case I had something else for Howard to sign.
So I don't think we have voted on this though, have we?
No,
No.
you
No.
haven't.
Leslie always
So I-
has the votes written before you. vote.
Oh, I see. That's what she meant. Okay.
No, I just
Okay.
said, assuming that you are going to do this, that's the last step that,
Okay.
Yep.
So I move that we approve the forest classification lien release
I'll
for lot CH12.
Yeah, I second.
Okay.
Arbonetus,
I
aye.
vote in favor.
Sinai.
Okay, so the motion is passed.
Howard,
Leslie. Yes,
I'm sorry, Howard, I was just gonna tell you, the reason that everybody is to say their names is for if anybody has calling in, they don't know, they don't see you. That's why the
Oh,
rule
okay.
about saying your name when you vote.
but it goes into the minutes, right?
well,
Okay. Okay.
yes, I guess I am recording it the right way, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And so Leslie, when do you need that notarized signature by?
I would say let's do it next week because it means a special trip in for me, and I'm already making one special trip in on Saturday morning. If you don't mind waiting till next week, it's not urgent. And Monday is Juneteenth, so the offices are closed. So Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever if you're going away, well, you don't have to say that. But if there's any reason, we can talk about it later. You can call.
Okay,
when-
but the 18th or the 19th during your office hours, that's going to work for you basically, right?
June 19th is Monday. And
I'm
that's
sorry,
a
the 20th.
so 20th or
20th or
21 would
20th.
work for me, if that works for
Okay.
you.
Yeah, we'll do that. That'll be fine. Okay.
All right.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is to review and approve the means tested exemption application. So Leslie sent out what she's called a generic version, generic meaning that it's got no dates on it, so she doesn't have to revise it every year. Does
And it's-
everybody have any? Okay.
Go ahead.
Does anybody have any questions or comments on it?
Sense to me.
Okay. I do. I have a couple of questions or comments on it. So about the assets that we're asking for, I noticed that there's no line actually on the application where we ask for like, what is the total value of your assets?
Well, on the information sheet, documentation needed at the bottom, proof of age, copy of your calendar year federal income tax return, copy of your previous calendar year state income tax return, including Schedule CB, a complete list of your assets.
Okay, so you figure the complete list of the assets will do that because there'll be a number at the bottom of it and it'll be the total value. Okay, fine.
Well, actually, well, I have a question about that. Complete list of assets, but shouldn't it say complete list of assets and their values and the value of each? In other words, I can list the assets, but it doesn't necessarily tell me that I have to tell you what they're worth.
Complete list of the value of your assets. Would that work?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I can't see that line. Where is that?
It's on the application information sheet. It would be page 2 of what I sent to you.
Yeah, I'm looking. I just don't see it. I'm being dense here.
Way down at the bottom, documentation needed. It's a third of the way down on Town of Shutesbury application for relief, for senior tax relief. Scott,
Means testing senior exempt program. Am I looking at? Yeah,
you're looking at page
requirements.
3, well, if I sent you the new it's the cover page that we were sent is big letters, the new means tested senior exemption program. That's all it says on it. Then the second page says Town of Shutesbury application for senior tax relief.
Yes, yeah, I'm looking
That
at that.
talks about, so down at the bottom, application documentation needed.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I skipped right over that. I was looking at the application below it. Okay, got it. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. So it's on page 2?
Yeah, bottom of page 2.
It's the other.
Complete a list of your assets and your values. Yeah, something like that. But because one thing, you might have to go back to people if you don't specify that you need the value of the assets.
Thank you. That's a good point. And I will say to you that so far, and this is a different exemption, so I don't have the experience with it, but most of the people just look at you with blank faces. They've got their checking account. They hardly have any, they're not going to have stocks. But I think that adding a complete list of the values of your assets and their values, I do like that wording better, even though it's longer.
And values is more clear.
Yeah, and their
got it.
values.
Does that include the value of your home?
No,
No?
nope. The
Primary resident, it says other than you,
excluding the residents under assets.
the last sentence is other than your primary residence.
Assets include bank checking and savings accounts, bonds, money market certificates, stocks, boats, and real estate other than your primary residence.
Yeah, and if they put their primary residence down, it's no harm.
We know how to interpret
Deal with
it.
it, right.
And again, as I'm saying, I haven't heard a lot of interest in it. I think that the people that we're going to be dealing with are the same people that we've always dealt with. There may be some more, but those people may not have, all these assets.
I wonder if we could outreach to village neighbors as another source to
No,
get the
thank you.
information out.
We can
As
do
long
it. They're regional. I would
Yes.
not, I
No,
don't want to
yeah.
do this just because they're regional. We've got a very solid council on aging
Council on Aging.
that communicates with our seniors, and those are the only people we're supposed to communicate
Okay,
with.
that makes sense.
That's what I was going to say, as long as it's just for our seniors.
Okay.
All right.
And so the Council on Aging is aware of this.
As much-
David, Kevin Rudden had a whole presentation to them, but we can bring it up again. It's going to be in a newsletter. Is that newsletter ever coming out, or maybe not? It was written up in spring to go out, but maybe not going out.
It's going out, Leslie. It's about to go out.
Good. So it'll coincide with the time they can apply.
Right.
And there was, they did an article on the exemption in the Gazette. a
Okay.
year ago, 2 years ago now. When it first got passed, they did probably 18 months ago, they did a lengthy article about it.
Maybe after Kevin did a presentation for him.
Mhm.
So one other thing I would ask about is where it says, it says a complete list of your assets, and we're going to add in with valuations, something like that.
I was gonna, what I wrote was, and their values.
Okay, and I would add in a date for those valuations. So
Well,
that they don't,
yes.
because like valued as of a certain date. Because otherwise people can just pick and choose whatever date they want.
Well, I would want to include, I would ask David Burgess about that. And my sense is that since the other documents are for the previous year's tax returns, which are effective December 31st. So for this current year, 23, we're going with December 31st, 21. Because and then each year it catches up with itself. It may be, that's just how taxes run. Taxes are a year behind. The documentation for your income is a year behind.
No, but the tax information is going to be through 2022.
Are you certain of that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Then
valuations
2020
don't, I mean,
Then
valuations don't
2022.
enter into tax. Valuations don't enter into tax returns at all. Valuations are not part of tax returns.
Correct, but if you're trying to
Taxes,
put the date as,
local taxes.
you'd want to line them up, so it should be 12/31/22 to match the.
Fiscal year, yeah.
Well, what Leslie was telling me was that when we do say, I think this is true for a 41C exemption, and we have to do, and asset valuations are part of that because there's a low number. There's a low ceiling for, there's a low ceiling for asset valuations for 41C. So assets matter. And as I understand, what Leslie told me, I thought was that the date of valuation for 41C is July 1st,
That's
the
correct.
beginning of the
and-
fiscal year.
And Becky is correct about, I was a year off. I was thinking of the local taxes are based on the calendar year before, but Becky is correct. December 31st, 22, because it is that this current tax year's, well, 2022 income tax. And for assets, I would defer those technical things to the administrative assessor, who will come up with a consistent date. But you can recommend either July 1 or December 31st, which would be consistent with when we're getting our income tax information from. Seems to me it should be December 31st so that everything's consistent.
I don't actually have an opinion on which date we use. I just think we need to use a date.
Yeah.
Well, I'm wondering if we could just say complete list of your current assets and their values. If we're not too concerned about the date, and that just makes it simple for the people.
I think Howard's right. We
yeah,
need
a
a
date.
date because somebody could just, pull out something from 3 decades ago.
Well,
you-
that's why I say a list of your current assets, basically the date you sign it, the value of your assets on that date.
But-
And that's
wouldn't want-
readily accessible information. If, some people are gonna be like, I gotta go back to 4 months ago to see what my assets were worth 4 months ago, as opposed to I
Yeah,
can just look them up right now.
Most of it is banking statements and you get year-end,
Yeah, no, I know. I wouldn't have trouble doing
you
it,
have
but
to collect all your year-end information anyway.
yeah,
I
it's just a
su- I sus-
suggestion.
I suspect David will say to go with December 31st, 22 for this year, December 31st, because that's what, but I don't know. I think if you folks are comfortable with what David tells us to
We're
do,
not- Leslie,
Uh,
we're not going to get feedback from David until the middle of July.
right. But it doesn't, for this form, I think it's good enough. I don't think we have to put a date on it.
Didn't you have to send this out before?
Yes, he wants it sent out right away, but I thought I heard somebody say, just the complete assets and their values. If they call, we'll answer it.
I think
Why
I
not?
think putting it
think-
out and then putting it out with a date later is going to cause confusion.
Yeah.
I'm
I
not
agree.
going to put it out with a date later. I don't think anybody will call and ask. We'll see what happens, and we can always call them and say, when David gives me an answer, we can, first of all, truly, I don't think we're going to get any assets from 3 years ago. Truly, most people in this category don't have these assets. And if they do, and if they're significant, we can always call them and say, we need it as of such and such a date.
It makes sense to do 12/31 as that lines up with the tax, income tax.
That's true, yeah.
If so, and it's also, you have to be 65 as of 12/31. Or
To be eligible.
to be eligible. So 12/31 seems to be the date.
If everybody wants me to write that in, I will just add as 12/31, which is,
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can't.
So can we decide that it's going to just be dated? It's going to say values as of 12/31.
So it
Yeah.
lines.
And you have the previous tax year. That's what you want, right?
That's right.
The next document that we're going to look at, chapter 259, the act authorizing the town of Shutesbury, just so everybody knows, what it says is the qualifying. It said, I lost it. Oh, I'll find it.
What are you looking at?
It said, the next document in the documents that Leslie sent us, it's called chapter 259 at the top. And it refers to the close of the previous year is the language it uses. I'm not saying December 31 is bad. I'm fine with it, but I just want everybody to be aware. It says
So
as of the
isn't the-
close of the previous year.
so you're in agreement with what April said.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with any of it. I'm just throwing that out so everybody understands that that language is more consistent with this act that was approved. I don't know if it matters or not. I'm fine.
Well, they need to know what close of the previous year means.
Yeah, right. That's true. Good point.
You know, and
that's true.
if I were trying to figure it out, I would say that's probably December 31st.
But it could be June
And we
30th
could
because
just-
that's a fiscal year end for Shutesbury.
But I think if we
Right.
keep
So
with income taxes, then I don't see why there'd be.
Yeah,
any-
I agree with April. I'm totally okay.
okay.
And maybe
Okay.
Dave, if he had a strong, well, we have to get these out before.
Yeah, I mean, that's for this year. If he says, no, you should have done it this way, we'll fix it and we'll do it that way next year. We should just make the change that we agreed to and run with it.
So I'll move
Okay.
that it be, should we have a vote on that?
I have one other thing I want to ask about before we vote on the application. I have just one other thing, which is, and I appreciate what Leslie said, that we are not talking about wealthy people with elaborate financial portfolios. I believe that. Still, I would like, what I'm reading here is assets include bank, checking, and savings accounts. And I would just like to add in a phrase, brokerage accounts. Okay. And the reason for that is that some people keep almost all of their cash in brokerage accounts and almost none in checking accounts. And if somebody really wanted to kind of game this thing, they could say, oh, look, I don't have to include the cash in my brokerage account because it's not actually in here anywhere.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think brokerage and retirement accounts.
Maybe
Okay.
say assets include but not limited to bank checking, savings, brokerage accounts. And what was the one you said?
Retirement
Oh,
accounts,
retirement
because
accounts.
we want to cover things like 401ks and Roth IRAs. And the fact of the matter is, I will say, you can qualify for the circuit breaker tax credit because of your income, but you could have $1 million in retirement accounts. And so people manipulate their tax returns all the time by how they pull money from their retirement accounts, especially if they have Roth IRAs.
The line
So-
above assets, maximum of 250,000, excluding the residents. So, but I
Right.
hear you.
Yeah, and so if we don't include, like Howard was just saying, we don't include those things, they could easily push it down under 250.
Okay. All assets. I'm going to put all at the beginning. All assets, including bank checking, savings, brokerage and retirement accounts, bonds, money market, certificates, stocks, etc. Should I put an etc. at the end?
Sure,
Mhm.
Yeah. why
because
not?
we might have missed something and that covers it.
And at some point, you
Okay.
might want to show Dave Burgess the changes we made and just make sure he doesn't have any reservations so that next year we get it, we don't find out
Right.
that we said something we shouldn't have.
And next year we'll have experience. See how many applicants we get, see what kind of things we've missed. Yeah, it's fluid.
Okay, so can we vote on this? Can we vote on this with the changes that we've decided on tonight?
Yeah,
Can we
as
do,
amended.
even though we're not looking at it in front of us?
Yeah, the motion would be as amended, approved.
Okay. And,
So
okay,
did-
so what Leslie just read to us,
was that the-
Leslie just read to us the changes that we're going to make to the line about what the assets actually are. And then a few lines down, it's going to say a complete list of your assets with valuations as of December 31st of the previous year.
Yeah.
Okay, and other than that, it's unchanged. And I'm going to make a motion that we approve this application as amended.
And I'll second that.
Okay,
I know.
and Spetner approves.
Arpanet aye.
Steinai.
Okay. So the motion is passed. And I need to go find the agenda. Sorry.
That's all right, no rush.
Okay, agenda. Okay, so on the means tested application, the one question we haven't resolved is how this is going to be applied. In other words, how much money we're going to actually award people. Are they all going to get the same amount, or are they going to get an amount that's that's pegged to what their circuit breaker tax credit actually was? And as I understand it, we're going to kind of table that until the end of the summer, until the applications are in. Is that?
Not, yeah, hopefully it'll be known before the end of the summer, but I don't think we could, I think it would be best to wait for that till a meeting at at the end of July.
And is that our decision or is that the select board decision?
The select board decision is on the percentage.
Okay, that's it. The 500 to 200%.
So not less than
The
50 and not more than 200.
Yes, and
That's
then the question remains whether it's based, that percentage is taken on the actual credit that an individual receives, or the range that the state of the range of 50% to 200% of the state income tax credit allowance for each year.
Mhm.
And
think that
I
that's
do
max-
think
The
that-
maximum allowance.
right. And I
So
do
let-
think
Okay.
that David and Becky and should both speak with the board about it. Anybody who wants to call anybody and do any research. and I'll just do it based on what I'm told to do.
Okay.
So my question is, if the select board's going to make that decision, we're
Wait,
going
there's
to,
two decisions. Right? Leslie,
Yes.
George, there's two decisions. The select board decision will be whether it'll be 50, 100, 150, or 200% of whatever the,
and then the other decision is what it'll be.
yeah, but how the circuit breaker, yeah, if it's divine, if you're defining the circuit breaker on what, how much the individual.
Right, I get it. I totally get it. But my,
It goes back to the assessors.
so my question is, once the applications come in, will David and Leslie or you, Becky, or all of you combined run the numbers based on the different options so that the select board can see what the value, what the impact of the decision is?
Yeah,
David
I
already said that.
They
he will
kind
do
of
it.
need to know.
Mhm.
They
Oh,
kind of need, if they're going to decide between the 50 and the 200, 50, what Becky just said, they're going to need to know before then how this is going to play out. It can't be like, it might be this way and it might be that way and it might be some other way. They got to know. Okay.
Right, and David
That
has
sounds
already
right. It's
said
just too
that's fine.
complicated.
David said he
Okay.
will calculate it.
Good. All right. That's what I
And
want
that's
to
what
make sure that
Kevin
was being done.
presented originally when he reviewed the whole exemption, that there would be, he was going to put together a report for the select board ahead of time of their meeting so that they can have a sense of the magnitude of the impact before
Yes.
they.
Okay, good.
I have one other piece of information on that. Okay. Yes. So it turns out that Hopkinton has had a means tested has had this exemption in effect since 2018. And the wording of their statute, paragraph 3 is the relevant paragraph here. It's the paragraph that specifies how large the exemption is going to be. And the wording of that paragraph is the same in their statute as in our statute. And I called the Hopkinton Assessor's Office and I asked them how they administer this thing. And what they told me is that they give a different exemption to every person based on how large their circuit breaker tax credit was for the previous year. So that's what they do.
So what is the range of the percentage of the tax break of the circuit breaker tax credit? It's not a fixed.
You mean how large, not the exemption, but the tax credit itself? That's what you're asking about? It's two different things, right?
Yes. But it's not standard. It's not a standard amount for anybody who's qualifies for the circuit breaker. It's a percentage of their income.
I think there's a,
No. Okay. It is the amount of the circuit breaker tax credit is determined on Schedule CB. It's something that every applicant fills out. Okay. And it's a number that's calculated. Okay. And the number is it gets involved, okay, but
There's a
it's
number of factors.
in outline. It's simple. In the end, it's simple, okay. You add up your total income, okay. Adding it up is a little complicated because it involves a lot of different things besides your adjusted gross income. But in the end, you come up with a total income, okay. That number has to be below $64,000, okay.
Or a
And if
single.
you come in per single person, yeah. Okay. Once you've got that number, you take 10% of it, you subtract it from your real estate taxes. That is your circuit breaker tax credit. That number can range from anywhere from $1 to $1,200. And that's why in Hopkinton, your exemption can range anywhere from 1 to 1,200 times whatever percentage the select board decided on.
and that's another reason why we need people to send us their CB form from their tax return.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's probably the most important thing that we have to see.
Yep.
Okay.
And we are asking for that. Okay.
Yes.
This is
Yeah,
making,
it's on that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how many people actually fill out the forms and yeah, and see the calculations.
I remember when Kevin first brought this before the select board, when I was on the select board, he thought it was maybe 10 people
No, he said 27.
or 27.
Yeah, I mean, it was over 20 people, I think. Well,
Okay,
If they apply.
it's 20. Yeah,
If they apply.
okay,
that we're getting it on their income tax.
okay.
About 20, some people, 26.
So a couple things too. There's no rollback on this like there is chapter 61, and they have to apply annually. Is that correct?
That's
Yes.
correct.
All right.
Your
I knew
your
that, but I
income
just
can
wanted to-
always change, so you have to do it every year.
Right, of course.
I guess one question I do have, well, never mind. I was going to say the 250,000,
Adjusted for inflation or
No,
right.
that's
No, I was just
assets.
thinking,
It says you can have $250,000 in assets in addition.
in addition to your primary residence. Never mind. My idea, the only thing I was thinking about was if a person has a second real estate property and it's gone up and it doesn't matter.
No, because that isn't.
that's not their residence.
Right.
But with the cost of automobiles and families having more than one automobile, those assets can't, that the automobiles have doubled in value in recent years. So it's not as much as it once was either.
Yeah,
That's what
but
Second cars count? Second cars count?
All cars count.
Anything you
Yeah.
own,
I,
that's an asset.
I thought your first car, your one car is an asset. We're counting that?
yeah, there's nothing. here that
Everybody's
says
car
cars
count.
are exempt.
Yeah, cars are, yeah,
Okay,
cars.
But that's not
No, it
included. We
doesn't
don't
say
say that.
cars.
It doesn't say that.
Let's see, it doesn't
It
say
says
cars.
boats, not cars.
Boats
I
and
don't,
other than your primary residence. So if you have 3 cars and you have a Cadillac and a brand new Lexus, you may still qualify.
okay.
Yeah, that interests me that it didn't say that. I read that. It doesn't clearly say your vehicle doesn't count. And the reason it interests me is because on other forms, they have to list the value of their car. So that's another one that Hopkinton might have an answer about too. I appreciate that you called them to get some hands-on information, Howard. And if you happen to be talking to them again, both, do they count the value of their automobiles, and how does that does that 250 change each year?
Yeah. And so the automobiles could be in the et cetera that we're adding.
Right.
I'm sorry,
We
didn't
don't
get
know,
that.
but Hopkinton, we can, once again, David should be involved. Once again, it's best to look at it again in July. And it's really great to hear about a town that actually is doing it.
And it's not clear. I mean, do automobiles count in the calculation of the CB? So maybe
It's-
they're already taken care of in that calculation.
No, they're not in that calculation.
Okay,
It
so-
doesn't factor in because the CB does not have an asset limitation, so nothing matters for this. The only thing that matters for the CB is your house, your primary residence cannot be worth more than 900 something. Okay, that disqualifies you. Other than that, nothing matters.
The other things that you factor into the items you said earlier though, right? Your rental payments, what was it, Howard? Your rent payments, and because I know when I did my mother's CB, that asked those questions. What do you pay for property tax? I think was it, and other things, but nothing about autos, nothing about your other assets. So
Right.
What I've been told is that municipal and sewer count for your benefit. And since Shutesbury doesn't have those, I've been told that many people don't qualify because they can't get those expenses up as high as people who do have to pay those. We do pay. We do have to maintain our septic systems, and we pay in a big lump sum when we install them, or replace them. But
I asked about that. I once called them and asked them about, like, when I get my septic pumped, I said, can I count that? And they said, no.
no,
Yeah, no, can't do it. Nothing that we do to maintain, our own water and sewage and so forth. Nothing of that counts.
but truly it is part of a factor when people with municipal sewer bills and water bills pay, I believe.
Yeah.
I'm irate. It's true.
Honestly, if it was me, I would take it. Let them catch me and then argue with them then. Honestly, it's not
Yeah,
that
you
much
can
money,
do-
Howard. What is it, $300 every 2 years? I would just do it. Let them tell
Okay.
me I shouldn't.
George, I'm gonna have you do my income taxes from now on.
Just,
Yeah,
hey,
right.
it's the same
George.
thing. I'm not gonna check. I'm just gonna do it.
George, this is going up on YouTube.
Well, my taxes are not that complicated. My taxes are pretty easy, so they can come out of me anytime they want.
Let me just write this down. George Arvin, I just.
You don't have to write it, it's recorded.
When in doubt, if it's gray enough area, run with it. That's, that's what you do.
Well, that's the only way to really find out, I guess, if it's the right
Yeah,
thing.
there you go. Someone will look you in the eye and say,
I hate to be the chairman here, but can you call for a vote, Howard, on?
I thought we did. Didn't we do
Is it
that?
all done? Did everybody say
I think
aye,
it's.
aye, aye?
Oh, yeah.
I know we met the motion.
I did.
Let's vote. Arvanitis, aye.
Stein,
Aye. Spedner, aye.
Yeah, so maybe we
Okay.
voted it twice. We're just being careful.
yeah.
Okay. So that, I believe, concludes the discussion of the means test, the MTRE exemption. We're done with
I
it?
hope so.
Okay, good. I'll second that. And the next thing on the agenda is to review and approve the CAI mapping contract. This is a contract that we are getting from a company called GIS, which is
No.
basically a total of, no,
CA.
not GIS. CAI is the company?
Yes,
Okay,
it's our
Okay,
GIS
CAI is the-
Internet Services.
okay. Two different companies, or one company owns the other company, or what?
GIS stands for Geographic, somebody help me,
Services,
something,
information services,
information
Okay.
system.
systems. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. But
Is that a
CAI,
company?
CAI stands for Cartographic Associates, Inc. They prepare our maps each year and they provide our internet services. The maps cost $900 a year. The internet services to keep our maps up online cost $2,000. So right now,
And when you
And
say
they-
keep our maps online, you're talking about when people go to the assessor's website, they click on the GIS and they can see the town maps. What
Yep.
about the printed maps that you keep in the office? Are they in this as
That's-
well?
that's the $900 map maintenance.
All right.
They,
got it.
and each year we send them corrections and updates and they put them on and we get a new set of maps.
Wow.
See more.
What do you do with the old set of maps?
We keep them. They're permanent records.
Archived, okay.
Yep. We have them back through 1980s, maybe.
Because sometimes you might need to reference them.
Yeah, that is true at times. It gets, as things change quickly from paper to GIS, it's not so much, but yeah.
It's helpful to have,
Okay,
remember,
so,
it's like a half mile missing somewhere or something was, never mind. But it's good to have the maps.
It's
Oh,
very
yeah, no
good. They're
question.
needed. Yep.
No question.
Okay,
And having access to
And-
them online.
this is something, we're just renewing something that we've already got. This is not anything new. Is that true?
That's
Okay.
correct.
So we just need to approve it, basically, right? Okay, I move that we approve these new contracts.
I'll second.
And
Okay. Spetner, aye.
Stein, I.
Arvanitis, aye.
Okay. The motion is passed. Are there any other topics that we need to discuss that haven't been anticipated in advance?
I
Yes,
have,
We do. What are they?
I think I heard two people talking, and if the other person wants to go first, I'm looking.
no,
for-
Leslie, you go because you might, your
Okay.
stuff would probably take more time.
Yesterday, the Ellen Vadar, our new billing company, has been working with the assessors, David Burgess, and yesterday worked with Ellen McKay and helped her print out the bills. And so as of today, I can report to you, and I don't have the commitments actually in writing yet, but they will be dated, the commitments will be dated June 13, 2023, and I'll have them ready for you for the next meeting. And the CPA total was, for the first 2 quarters, is $27,055.17. The real estate quarters 1 and 2 is $2,598,624.86. And the personal property is first and second quarter is $118,885.21.
That's CPA number. So annually CPA is around $55,000. That's big.
27,055 for the first 2 quarters. So
Okay, 24 grand, it's 54 grand.
Used to be 30,000 for the year. So it's
Yeah,
gone-
right? 54 sounds big.
Yeah.
Wow. And state's matching what, 30%?
I don't know, Becky, you might know better than I.
33% was the match we got.
It's a third? Okay, all right. Well, that's
Yeah,
pretty
and
good.
and that's for, because we went 1.5%. If we had gone 3%, we would have gotten 100% match for all.
Yeah,
all
right.
these
Right.
years. Leverett had, they've gotten over $1 million.
Can they
Oh,
spend it?
What?
Can they spend $1 million?
I'm not sure. I know they've done a number of projects. Yeah, I don't think they've done the housing projects that they started. They've looked into doing low-income senior housing, but I think those projects are still in the works. They haven't pulled it off yet.
Yeah, that's where you really need the money. Those are the big projects. Did you see there was an article in the Gazette a couple weeks ago about that? It basically, towns are not, they're doing the open space piece, they're doing historical preservation piece, but they're all way behind on spending on on housing.
Well, we spent
State's
ours.
gonna crack
by-
down on that.
Well, we did. We
Go ahead,
spent
Becky.
53,000 last year on the housing piece. So
It noted for Shutesbury that we were just under the 10% requirement, like just under it. So we look like we're okay based on the article.
but that's only one project that we've done.
Yeah,
But
you
we're-
just Habitat for Humanities.
Yeah, the Habitat House.
And I've been told that that's a way a lot of small towns can find to use it. It's not easy for towns to do a whole project, but they can contribute by buying the land and giving it to the Habitat. And a number of towns are doing that. So maybe it's time for us to do it again, is what you're suggesting.
I'm not suggesting anything. I'm just, somebody's got to come up with the proposal. I'm just noting what I saw in the paper.
But I think there had been some folks that were hoping to bring forward a low-income housing project with a number, 8 or 12 units or something, and it's a huge amount of work, like Leslie just outlined, because of all of the, and with the CPC, with $300,000 there in CPC funds, you can't even really, you can't tackle it with that. You have to find real funding.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're getting $70,000 a year based on what I just heard. 54 plus a third of that is another 18,000.
Well, it's 27 per half, it's 54 in total for the year.
That includes the match?
Wait a
Yeah,
minute.
that includes the
That's
match.
just the billing, I thought.
Quarters 1 and 2 is 27,055.17. That's what's coming from the taxpayers.
But George is
So-
right.
Double that for the year. And then the state, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but that
That'd be
changes.
a third, so
from
that'd be
the-
another 18.
Yeah. If it's a third every year, I think it changes.
No,
Oh.
it's always 33%, I think.
I don't think they're gonna go lower than
I think they
33.
give us more sometimes when there's,
Flush, when they got money.
yeah.
It used to be based, when it first started, it was based primarily off of the increase in the fees that you paid at the registries of deeds across the state. And since then, my understanding is that general funds from the state have been kicked in because people are liking it. So it's coming out of our income tax in a sense.
Hmm.
Becky, is it also true that is there a way we can subsidize people who apply for home improvements through the regional Franklin Regional Housing and Redevelopment Authority? They offer different programs for low-income people, and I thought that maybe the CPC could subsidize those projects too. I'm not certain of it.
I haven't heard of any examples,
Okay,
but I'll
then maybe I'm wrong, but that would be
look
another
at my
way.
email. That would be great if there's more avenues to.
I thought if someone really needed a ramp or something like that, and they went through that regional housing authority, then
Yeah, no,
CPC.
There's a program out there like that, but I'm not sure if it's I mean, I don't know how the funding mechanisms work with CPC and that. Sorry.
So much to understand.
Okay.
Okay, I think I was
So
the
is-
first one about the 48 hours in advance, but someone else wanted to ask something.
Well,
So-
I do have one question. When we were looking over the minutes, item 4 was personal property vendor options update, talking about David Burgess's time and also Roy Bishop. Becky was going to inform the select board and request final approval. So I just want to ask, did the select board look this over and approve it? The compensation or the hiring of David
Yeah.
Burgess and Roy
Yes,
Bush, Roy Bishop. Yeah, okay. I just want to make sure that.
Yeah.
So are all the issues with personal property, are they resolved now? In other words, somehow this is all going to get done? Is that basically it?
It will get
Personal
done.
property. Okay,
David Burgess explained it to me this way. He said, these are preliminary. Anything that gets changed will be worked out in the actuals. So,
Okay.
we do have a lot.
It
of
looked
work
like-
to do.
when I looked at all the list of things that Roy Bishop has contracted to do for $5,000 or $6,000. It looked like a lot of stuff.
And that's where some of it is overlapping what David's going to do. So he probably won't
Okay.
be on that list. But if he's
Okay,
decided not to try to micromanage it, because it's their first year. But David was already within the first day or so, he was already dipping into some of the things that were on Roy's list. So
okay,
having
fine.
backup, I think makes sense.
Okay.
So those two
So
guys
we're not
know
going
each.
to,
Go on. Howard.
So,
My experience is David Burgess is out there taking measurements, and maybe Roy is as well. I don't know what he's done. But Becky must know better, but David Burgess is definitely doing a lot of really functional work that needs to be done.
Yeah, and Roy is again gonna handle all our closing out the year and the recap and with David. So we'll have a better sense of exactly who's doing which piece. Right now, they're overlapping, and which creates a great sense of security.
But they know each other and they've worked together in the past, so they have a rapport that works okay. It's not gonna get, there's gonna be no friction.
Oh, no friction. No.
Okay, good.
So
good.
it was David Burgess last year when I told him about we were in a pickle. He recommended Roy.
Okay,
And I
good.
called Roy, and he had the time available that we needed, and David had none at that point, but so that's where our work with Roy began with David Burgess. And
do we have are we going to have any outside contracts for personal property at this point?
there
Are we
we,
paying anybody?
yes,
Not beyond these guys.
Roy.
Yeah, not beyond these guys.
Right.
Not beyond these guys, just Roy. Okay, we're not,
David
no,
Roy.
RRG or whoever they are.
No.
We had
Okay.
our RC because we were coming up to the 5-year state audit, and it was recommended that we have an outside audit done. In-house seems to be much better. Ellen McKay is on top of it. We know our town better, but that was something that really needed to be done.
Okay,
It was the
But
first
Maybe
it won't
5
be-
years.
utility audits that were an expertise that we didn't have in-house, and we still don't have in-house, and that's part of $2,000 of what Roy is doing is for the utility audits. He had quoted that prior to saying that he would do a lot more.
Yeah,
okay.
good
Okay,
point,
fine.
Becky.
And we now need to schedule another meeting, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. How's July 19th? So 4 weeks is July 12th, and I am away on July 12th.
It's too
How's
soon.
July 19th? Too soon?
No, July 19th seems good, right?
Better
July-
than the 26th. I'd say even give a little time for David to,
Okay, oh, because David just gets back like a few days before that. Leslie's, yeah. So the 26th, does that work for you, Howard?
The 26th is probably, I will make it work. Yes, the 26th is fine. I have no idea, but yes, I will make it work.
Wonderful.
Okay.
and George and April.
Yes, that would work.
Yes, I got nothing on my calendar right now.
Okay.
I.
Aye, aye, aye. Yes.
Okay. Anything else? I'll take that as no. I move that we adjourn the meeting.
I second.
I know.
I
Everyone's aye.
approve the adjournment. Spetner approved. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Good night, everybody. See you in 6 weeks.
All right, bye.
Hope we
Becky.
see you before.
Becky, quick question.
Okay.
I sent you an email about personnel board and a person who might be interested in it. And it might be good if she showed up just to see what we do.
Oh, I saw that. I will reach out and see if she can.
No, that's.
Yeah, two things about that. One, yeah, that would be great. And because she was asking me about what we do and I was kind of, I don't know, I didn't give her a good, you would have done a better job explaining it. But I'm going to use that opportunity to ask her one more time. Have you ever considered the FinCom?
Okay.
I'm definitely going to do that if she's there, because when she says, well, I don't know finance, I'm going to say, you don't need to know finance.
Okay.
Recording. The
Yeah,
meeting's
we're
adjourned.
leaving.
We're
We're
looking for
leaving.
people on personnel board and on finance committee, and they have a full contingent on school committee.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's great. Now we just need to see who wants to go down to the region.
Yeah, that's gonna be, but there's some that have, I think somebody has an older child that wants to,
Yep. Wasn't one of them a teacher or working in a middle school?
who is?
I thought one of them might even be working in a middle school.
Oh,
Can we-
that's-
Maybe not. Maybe
Can
I'm
we-
thinking of something else.
Can we leave this assessors meeting and let you two converse?
Yeah, no,
Bye.
this,
Bye.
yeah, Leslie, thanks again for all the materials before the meeting. It really makes a
Oh,
big
you're
difference.
welcome.
And your
Anytime.
descriptions.
I apologize for my being me.
It's okay, she just needed a reminder.
We all have at one point or another.
Oh, she lives close.
That's right.
Bye, everyone.
I,
Bye.
Have a nice conversation.
It'll be short, but I'm going to tell her, I'm going to say, listen, you don't need to be good. You know, when she says, I don't know finance, I'm going to say, listen, half the people in the finance community don't know finance, but you're intelligent, you know what goes on in school. And she's the demographic we need to fill.
well, we don't know where it'll end up, so
We
Well,
need somebody with children.